Welcome to yet another edition of the Stats and Stacks podcast, where today we're going over UFC Des Moines Sandhagen versus Figueiredo. First things first, make sure you smash that like button. Give a follow over on Twitter, over on Instagram, over on TikTok, wherever there's social media. There's the Stats and Stacks podcast, just coming off yet another profitable week, crushing it as of late. All the locks hit, the totals hit. Just one dog didn't come through, and it was John Castaneda by split decision. He barely lost it for us. So the reads were right. Everything was a really good, profitable week, and we're looking to keep that train rolling. That's three events in a row where it's been very, very profitable, and we're looking to make every week that week. So don't fix what isn't broken. We took the reads the same way, watched the same amount of fight tape, did everything correct, and we're hoping to continue our winning ways. Not a 14, 15 fight card this time, just 12. But just enough to get us excited. A live event, so you do have to be cognizant of the crowd persuasion. All in all, a decent fight card, and let's just go ahead and start with it, not waste any more time here. And we have our very, very first fight of the night. We are looking at Juliana Miller at plus 185, making her return against Ivana Petrovic at minus 225. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 220. Under 2.5 at plus 165. Let's start with Ivana Petrovic. Ivana is not good at all. She's 30 years old, so this is essentially a finished product. She's going to have a 4-inch reach advantage. She is a pretty big girl for the weight class. She was predominantly a striker through and through. She found grappling and just kind of fell in love with it, and now she fancies herself a grappler over a striker. So I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. A lot of times you have like these wrestlers who knock someone out, like i.e. Michael Chandler. They knock someone out, then they forget how to wrestle. They just want to strike the entire time. She's the opposite. She's a striker that found grappling and was like, wow, I don't have to get punched in the face and I'm still winning. I want to keep doing this. The problem is it's not that great. As she got to the UFC, these girls are a lot harder to just out grapple. She has okay striking. She has okay jujitsu. She has okay offensive wrestling. Defensive wrestling is a little bit of a liability, rocking a 58% takedown defense in the UFC. And when she is striking, it's usually just counters, which means she's a little bit more low volume. With that low volume, it makes her a little more hittable. She is getting hit more than she's hitting other people, but she does move forward. She does slow a touch in her fight. She doesn't gas by any means, but she can slow down a little bit. And she doesn't like pressure. I noticed that she's a decent counter striker, but if you keep coming forward because she only hits so hard, she doesn't like it. She kind of panics and she kind of folds under pressure. It's not like she's going out there and just getting finished, but the optics look very, very bad visually with her covering up, essentially just running away and screaming to the judges, "Hey, this hurts. I don't want to do this. let's have this fight go a different direction." So you do have to be mindful of that. I don't really know if she's going to be worried about getting hurt against Juliana Miller. Juliana Miller is a god awful striker. She's 28 years old, and we haven't seen her in about 2 years. So you're thinking probably stay the hell away from Juliana Miller. She's 3-3 coming off of the Ultimate Fighter. And generally, I'd agree. Generally, I would say stay away from Juliana Killer Miller. I think she sucks. I think she's one of the worst fighters in this weight class in the UFC. But I do think she has decent jiu-jitsu. And what did we say about Petrovic? She was a striker turned grappler. She wants to grapple. What does Juliana Miller do? Grapple. And a pretty damn good grappler at that. Other thing, Petrovic, again, she could slow down a touch. Juliana does not. She really just predicates her fighting style on jiu-jitsu and cardio. And those are the two things that Petrovic struggles with. On the feet, I had aforementioned that she's a bad striker. Awful. 35% striking defense. If you want to hit this girl, you have over a 70% chance of hitting her. You have it's bad. Or sorry, 65% chance. It's really bad. More often than not, you're going to hit her if you want to. But part of that is because she pressures forward. Again, Petrovic doesn't like pressure, and that's all Juliana does. She doesn't know how to strike. She just likes to pressure forward and swing. So you can hit her, but she's definitely going to try to hit you as well. She's very, very violent. She's not a good wrestler at all, but Petrovic, 58% takedown defense. questionable. So you have a girl that pressures but can't really strike, going against a girl that's a good counter striker but doesn't like pressure. You have a girl that is predominantly a striker but loves to grapple, and you have a grappler that can't wrestle that invites grappling. Like everything is pointing towards Juliana Miller. Now we haven't seen her in over 2 years. She's had some injuries. She's had some death in the family. So we really don't know where she is on a physical or mental standpoint. But I do know that she's a plus 185 dog. I do know that she won the Ultimate Fighter, so the UFC tries to keep them around a little bit and throw them a bone. I do know that all in all, this is just a good matchup, and she's American, so the crowd will probably be behind her. So she has a lot of advantages here, enough to where I cannot ignore the plus 185. So Petrovic will be the pick, but in regards to a betting standpoint, I will not have Petrovic anywhere. I will have a single alone bet on Juliana Miller. Unfortunately, I think she's awful. Again, one of the worst fighters in the weight class, but I think this is the UFC trying to throw her a bone here. This is someone they think she can beat. So the pick is Pat for Trevij because she should win, but Juliana is by far the bet, and I will have a bet and money on Juliana Killer Miller. Next fight of the night is one where you just need to keep your money away. We have Don'Tale Mayes at plus 215 going up against Thomas Peterson at minus 260. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 is minus 155. Under 2.5 at plus 120. Whew, where do you start? Um, let's start with Thomas Peterson here. Thomas Peterson, this is low level MMA personified. He's 30 years old. He has a college wrestling background, and that's what we rely on. His striking has improved. I do see improvement in him. I used to think he was someone that I was going to fade continually. I have seen improvement from the LFA days to today. Thomas Peterson, he has grown. It's just, has he grown enough? Uh, I don't think so. Has he grown enough to be a minus 260 favorite? Absolutely not. His jiu-jitsu is not good, but he knows what's going on there. We've seen him get a submission win on Dana White Contender Series. His cardio has gotten better. He's definitely been working on that. We've seen him gas out, but recently we've seen him go a hard 3 rounds. Um, his level of competition is not great. But he does pressure forward. He does have good wrestling. His striking's improved. But he did get knocked out just 3 months ago. So that's not a good look. I like them to take a little more than 3 months to come back. But Don'Tale Mayes only hit so hard. So there's a lot of pros, a lot of cons. At the end of the day, Thomas Peterson is someone that is constantly improving. I just don't really want to trust him with my money. On the other side, we have Don'Tale Mayes, who's been in the UFC long enough to never trust him with your money. Don'Tale Mayes is not good. Main training partner of John Jones, the Wink MMA essentially dissolved, and these two are still fighting there for some strange reason. Don'Tale Mayes is an okay striker. That's about it. He has a 9 inch reach advantage. His cardio has looked good and bad. You really never know what you're going to get. His wrestling, you do know what you're going to get. Trash. 57% takedown defense. He has 11-8 record for God's sake. Like it was not good. His jiu-jitsu's god awful. Everyone makes fun of him, saying they're gonna ankle lock him if they get him down to the ground, and everyone is. He's been ankle locked multiple times. So I really don't know what to do with this cat. He is a striker without a ton of power that can't wrestle and has no jujitsu. And he just looks kind of mentally checked out as of late. Like he just doesn't want to be there. He's definitely regressing quickly, especially only being 33 years old. In fight years, this dude is acting like he's in his 40s. So just picture all those 40-year-old fighters that are declining. You're seeing that in Mays. So I understand why he's the underdog. He should be the underdog. Should he be plus 215? That's a little rich for my blood. I don't think this fight should be that far off. But at the end of the day, the pick is going to be Thomas Peterson. I don't want to trust either one. So I'm actually taking a peek at that over. Don'Tale Mayes is absolutely terrible in his last fight. So if he comes out motivated at all, he's going to want to sprawl and brawl. Thomas Peterson is coming off a KO, but he doesn't generally get knocked out. Um, so what I'm looking at is the over 1.5 at minus 270. It's somewhat parlayable, but these two are the right thing to do is to stay away. But I have to have something on every single fight. So at the end of the day, I will have the Peterson Mays over 1.5 as the bet. And in regards to a pick, it would be Peterson, but I don't feel great about any of it, to be honest with you. Stay away. Next fight of the night, go back in. We have Gaston Bolanos at minus 140 going up against Quang Lee at plus 120. Over 2.5, minus 185. Under 2.5 at plus 140. Let's start with Quang Lee. He's someone that I was looking forward to fading. And it's been working. He's 0-2 in the UFC. I do like his nickname Bang, Quang Bang Lee. I think it's a pretty slick name fit there. Thing with Quang, he's an okay wrestler and he will mix in takedowns here and there. His jiu-jitsu is pretty decent. Most of his wins are by submission. His striking doesn't look horrible. Like on paper, he's not a bad fighter. The problem with Lee is that he's extremely hittable. He might be low-key chinny. I've seen him rocked multiple times and he got knocked out in his last fight. His volume's not there. He just doesn't throw enough. And when he does throw, he does kind of admire his work and you can counter him hard. And that's kind of how he was getting knocked out. He would hit you, he'd stare at you for whatever reason, and then get hit himself, and he could not take back what he was putting out. In regards to his cardio, he does have a tendency to slow down. He doesn't gas out, but he does slow down. So you have a low volume fighter that slows down a little bit that's partially chinny. That's none of that is a good combo. But outside of that, I mean, his skills aren't that bad. It's just you can really bet him contingent on who he's fighting. In his last fight, he fought Long or Lau or however you say his name, and he has really good takedown defense and good striking. So with Lee being a little bit of a generalist, I thought if Long was able to sprawl and brawl, he'd ultimately get the win, and that's exactly what happened. Now he's fighting Bolaños, and I'll tell you what, Gaston is not as he doesn't have good as takedown defense as Long. I'll tell you that. Bolanos is rocking a 42% takedown defense. That's a horrible, horrible, horrible number. Bolaños has zero jujitsu whatsoever. Dude can't even spell BJJ. He is predominantly a Muay Thai striker, and he's very good at it. He throws a bunch of spinning stuff, has a ton of KOs, carries a ton of power. Cardio is okay. It be pretty much a wash in regards to cardio. But again, 42% takedown defense with no jujitsu is not a good combo when you're going up against Quang Lee, where he can strike with you. And then mix in that takedown, take your back control, and ultimately finish the fight. I've seen Volanos submitted multiple times, and even in his last fight where he won against Romeus, he almost got submitted like 3 times. So he was able to get away with it last time. I don't think he can keep getting away with it. He's someone that I love to bet or fade contingent on who he's fighting. And he's fighting essentially a grappler here, and he has 42% takedown defense, and he's the favorite. So this is an easy, easy, easy dog or pass for me. I think the line is wrong. I think it should be a straight pick 'em. If you're going to give me plus money on Quang Lee, I am going to bet Quang Lee. So I'm going to pick Quang Lee because he's the overall better fighter. And I'm going to bet him at plus 120. You're getting plus money on the better fighter. Next fight of the night, we have Marina Rodriguez at plus 260 going up against Jillian Robertson at minus 320. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 185. Under 2.5 plus 140. Those numbers don't look like usual women's MMA fights, and honestly, that's because of both of these ladies. Let's start with Jillian Robertson. Jillian Robertson's good. She's another one that's been in the UFC a while and is showing constant improvement. She has world class jiu-jitsu. The girl is an absolute tank on the ground. The problem is she struggles to get it there. Her wrestling's not that great, but since from dropping from 125 down to 115, she is able to muscle a few more things. She's a little more physically strong, and her wrestling has looked a little better with the extra strength dropping to 10 pounds. And when she is on the feet, she has shown a lot of improvement, but she has no power and no volume, even though it looks cleaner. She doesn't throw it a lot. And when she does, you're not hurt at all. And you can hit her back. Her striking defense is not good. She's extremely hittable on the feet and low key chinny. If you touch her on the chin, she does not react that whatsoever. She has been finished more than one time on the feet. So just be cognizant Johnson of that. She is grappler or bust, but I do love the fact that she knows what she has to do. She's not going to even try to play around on the feet. When she's striking, it's to distract you so that she can get you down to the ground. She has one game plan. She has one mission. She has one job: get it down to the ground and finish the fight. I believe she has the most submissions in women's MMA history. And every single interview for the last like 4 fights, she's been talking about wanting a KO. I think she got one recently. She's real big on this TKO. The 12-6 elbows being gone. Yeah, she got it against Polyana Viana. Go figure. But these 12-6 elbows, I haven't seen anyone use them more than her since it's been legal. She just throws them. She loves them. She's a violent, violent girl on the ground now, and I love betting Jillian Robertson. You know exactly what you're getting. On the other side, we have Marina Rodriguez, who you also really know what you're getting. And the problem is that we're getting a 38-year-old women's MMA fighter. She is 38 years old. She will have a 2-inch reach advantage, which is super nice. And her striking is very good. Her power is pretty decent. Her jiu-jitsu has improved quite a bit. We talked about Jillian's striking improving. Marina's ground game has definitely improved. She does have good cardio, but the biggest issue with her is her 62% takedown defense, and her inability to get up. If she could just get up, it wouldn't even be that big of a deal. But she's one of these girls where you take her down and she starts throwing elbows from bottom, or she'll throw elbows and then throw up a submission that's probably not going to get you. She's just not a grappler at all. She is a striker through and through. So this is the definition of striker versus grappler matchup. On the feet, Marina kills Jillian. On the ground, Jillian kills Marina. And it's just a matter of, can the bad wrestler take down the 38-year-old with 62% takedown defense? I think so. Am I fully confident in it? No. Do I think Jillian should win? Yes. Am I going to bet her at minus 320? No. Am I going to bet Marina at plus 260? No, probably not. What I think I'm going to do is take violence, and do fight doesn't go the distance, or maybe the plus 140, under 2.5. Because if Jillian gets her down, she can finish her. If Jillian can't get her down, she's probably getting finished. So at the end of the day, I don't think this thing hits a judge's scorecard. So the pick is going to be Jillian, but the bet is going to ultimately be the under 2.5, or fight does not go the distance at plus money. Because why pick a side when you can just choose violence? Both these girls are violent. Next fight of the night is an interesting one. We have Asmat Bekoev at minus 380 going up against Ryan Loder at plus 290. Over 2.5 is minus 120. Under 2.5, minus 110. Essentially a pick 'em. Let's start with Ryan Loder. Ryan Loder is a wrestler, and that's it. His jiu-jitsu is all right. His striking is trash. He has a nice little head kick that he throws out there, but it's really just to be flashy. He can't strike. He is not a good striker at all, and he knows he needs to wrestle. I don't like all of his entries. He is just begging to get flying knee one of these times. He just kind of leans in with his head and just barrels in there. And once he gets a hold of you, he makes sure he gets you down to the ground. In doing so, he does get a little tired with all the grappling he does. But ultimately, you have a 4-inch reach advantage. He's fighting a Russian in Des Moines, Iowa, so he'll definitely have the crowd behind him. He trains at Team Alpha Male. Their jujitsu's training is okay, and he has a lot of finishes. And he's pretty violent when he gets it down to the ground, kind of like Julian Robertson. He's not a position versus submission. He's more of a I'm going to try to end this fight since I got it down here. I don't know if I'll get it back down here. So once I got the takedown, I am going to stay down, and we are going to finish you. Again, he's a D1 wrestler with just a violent, violent streak on the ground, with suspect cardio, but okay jiu-jitsu. That's essentially what he is. On the other side, we have Bekoev, and I'll be honest with you, Asmat's a fraud. He is a bad. You see him, you see the name, you think, oh man, crazy Russian wrestler is going to come out and just crotch sniff the entire time, and he's going to Habib you. He kind of sucks. He's not good at all. His striking's all right. His wrestling's overrated. His jiu-jitsu's all right. His cardio's ass. He slows down in every single one of his fights. Like he does not have good cardio whatsoever. One of his best wins on his record are against Dylan Butka, and that was a split decision. Dylan Butka went 0-4 or 0-5 in the UFC, and you want a split decision over him? He's very low volume. He's low key chinny. I've seen him rocked multiple times. He doesn't have a beard. That should be a straight indication that he's a bad Russian. What type? Your Russians you want to bet on? This guy. You want the Habib beard. Clean shaven Russians want no part of. Striking Russians I want no part of. I want them with a beard and to wrestle. This guy's trash. He is at ATT, so he's probably on steroids, which is going to be nice. Maybe that's all he needs for Ryan Loder. But he does pressure forward. But Loader has a tendency to go forward, so that'll be interesting to see them clash like that. If they do just meet in the middle, I do think Ryan Loader might be the better wrestler. He's a D1 wrestler. Asmat is a Russian with no beard. So I'll go ahead and I'll take Loader as the better wrestler. And I don't really know what Asmat's like on his back. And I know if he's just defending takedowns the whole time, he's probably going to get tired too. I think this fight's going to ultimately get really, really, really sloppy. But we have an American that's a big plus money with the crowd behind him. And one of my best friends, in my opinion, looks just like Ryan Loder. So I'm not going to bet against the guy. I bet him against Rob Zilla. It worked out great as an underdog. And now we have this fake Russian that just knocked out chiniest fighter in the weight class, Zach Reese. That doesn't mean you should be good. Ikram, future fade. Bakoev, definitely a future fade, but I think I'm going to pull the trigger now. The pick is going to be Ryan Loder. The bet's going to be Ryan Loder. You could also take a peek at this under because they're both liable to get finished, and they both have bad cardio. But plus 290 Ryan Loder is insane. Bakoev sucks. No beard, no good. Pick Ryan Loder, bet Ryan Loder. Next fight of the night, we have Yana Santos at plus 120 going up against Misha Tate at minus 140. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 400. Under 2.5 at plus 275. Let's just go ahead and start with the former champion and Misha Tate. It's been a minute. We haven't seen her in a little bit, about a year and a half here. But we know what Misha Tate is. First and foremost, she's 38 years old. She's old as dirt. That's what she is. But she'll most likely have the crowd behind her. She is a good wrestler. She has okay jujitsu. Her striking has improved quite a bit since hanging out over at Extreme Couture. She has a great level of competition. I mean, she's a former champ, for God's sake. She has good cardio, but she's very hittable and very low volume. That's the problem. Her striking's gotten much better. Doesn't mean it's good. It was just that bad before. She knows that. She wants to strike to make it look good and then ultimately get you down to the ground. She wants this fight on the ground. What's Misha Tate going to do? Wrestle. You don't have to ask if she's going to do it. Just if you see Misha Tate, she is going to shoot some takedowns. On the other side, we have Yana Santos, who's 35 years old, wife of Tiago Santos, 2-inch reach advantage. She has good cardio. She has good striking, but she has no power on those strikes. There's nothing to be scared of. Her jujitsu's trash. Her wrestling, 42% takedown defense. That's the number. Look at it, circle it. You are going against wrestler, former champion Misha Tate with 42% takedown defense. Yana has good volume when she's on the feet, but she has to outvolume you because she has no power whatsoever. She's fought a good level of competition herself. But when she does get taken down, the biggest thing is that she has a bad get up game. You take her down, she doesn't get up. Just like Marina Rodriguez. And that's not good when they're fighting Jillian Robertson and Misha Tate. They're fighting girls that take you down and try to finish you. And if you're not trying to get up and you have a significant striking advantage and you can't get up, you are going to get dismantled on the ground. So there's no way Yana Santos and Marina Rodriguez both win their fights. I just I truly think that Misha Tate is the lock of the card. Misha should go out there and take her lunch money. Is there a chance that we get bad Misha Tate because we haven't seen her in a year and a half and she's 38? Absolutely. Absolutely. She could be over the hill. She could be absolutely terrible. However, Yana Santos' takedown defense is that bad. Misha will have the crowd behind her. And Santos isn't like 30 or 29 years old. Santos is 35. She's old too. So at the end of the day, you have old versus old, one coming off a layoff, one with horrible takedown defense. Give me the wrestler. The pick is going to be Misha Tate. The bet is going to be Misha Tate. Next fight of the night. Did we say old? We have returning Jeremy Little Heathen Stevens at plus 425, going up against returning Mason Jones at minus 600. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 120. Under 2.5 minus 110. Let's start with fuck it. Let's start with Mason Jones. Mason Jones is someone that got cut by the UFC way too soon. He was young when he came into the UFC. He took a few fights on short notice. He ultimately lost and they cut him. I think this kid is good. I think he's kind of like how Reese McKee got cut way too early. I think the same about Mason Jones. He's making his return and he's still only 30 years old. He's a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu black belt. He's good on the ground. He's a really good striker. He is okay wrestling. We saw him take down David Onama 8 times. He has good cardio to continually do that. So he has cardio, he has striking, he has jujitsu, he has okay wrestling. He has it all, to be honest with you. He throws a ton of volume, very high volume. That's another credit to him. What's the one thing he doesn't have then? Why was he losing in the UFC? Well, I'll tell you what he doesn't have. Striking defense. This guy's hittable. God, he throws a ton of volume at you, but good lord, he doesn't believe in blocking shots. So Mike Davis was able to throw just as many shots back and ultimately win. Freaking God, Ludevic Klein is a striker. He's a world class striker. Was able to just evade everything that Mason was throwing, and then hit Mason back. Mason does not believe in striking defense. He wants to just out tough you. Now, has he ever been knocked out? No, he's never been knocked out. He's pretty durable. Has he been chin checked by just leaving his chin out there? Yeah, I've seen him dropped on more than one occasion. So he does have to be mindful of that, especially going against someone like Jeremy Stevens. He's just a little slow, a little unathletic. That's part of the reason he's so goddamn hittable. But ultimately, he's one of these guys with like good fight IQ. He has all the talent in the world. He just doesn't have like the physical makeup to just go. If he was an athlete, he would be undefeated. He would be very, very good if he was an athlete. He's just he knows how to do everything. He can do everything. He's just not athletic at all. Kind of stiff out there. But he's good and he marches forward. On the other side, we have Jeremy Little Heathen Stevens. Whenever I hear that name, I just think of that uppercut from hell to RDA. But that might have been his career highlight looking at it. I mean, the dude's 29 and 21. He's now 38 years old. He's been recently doing like bare knuckle fighting. He's from Iowa, so the crowd is going to be hot for Jeremy Stevens. It's a returning legend from the area. The crowd's going to be into it. He has good striking, and he's one of the hardest hitters we've ever seen at 145. You think of hardest hitters, you think of like Josh Emmett. This guy knocked out Josh Emmett. Like this dude hits hard, like as hard as Ilya Taboria. The problem is Ilya's a black belt with good wrestling. Little Heathen is a good striker with power, and that's it. He has a 65% takedown defense. He has seemingly no jujitsu whatsoever. His losses are really good. I mean, when you go through his record, I mean, not all 20 of them, but his recent UFC losses, he lost to, let's just start with his first stint in the UFC. He lost to Mateusz Gamrot, who's a top 10 guy. Calvin Cater is a top 10 guy, 15-ish. Yair Rodriguez is a top 5 guy. Zabit was a top 5 guy. Jose Aldo, former champion. Like, those guys are all really, really good. But also, that's 6 losses in a row. He fought Clay Collard when he went to the UFC, who's not that good and also got cut by the UFC and got dominated there. So, yeah, he had 5 losses in a row. He was tied for the most consecutive losses in the UFC. Him and BJ Penn were tied before Tony Ferguson broke that wide open. But yeah, that's not a good record to have. They have the second most consecutive losses in the UFC. Like, not great. Hits hard, super fan friendly, super fun to watch. But when you really go back and look at it, he's just a striker that hits really hard. Mason Jones is more well rounded. Mason Jones may be the better striker. Mason Jones is definitely the better wrestler. Mason Jones is definitely the better jiu-jitsu practitioner. Mason Jones definitely has the better cardio. Mason Jones definitely has the better chin. But don't leave that fucking chin out there. I don't care how durable Mason Jones is. He then can put anyone out. So That's where I'm stuck. I I love Mason Jones. Do I trust him at minus 600? The guy that lets you hit him against the hardest puncher? No, I do not. I do not trust that at all. I think this is a trap. So I'll go ahead and I'll pick Mason Jones. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bet the fight not to go the distance. If Mason Jones wants to take him down, he would sub him easy. If Mason Jones wants to stand and bang, we've seen Stevens knocked out before. And Stevens can knock out a fucking horse if he wanted to. So Stevens can knock out Mason Jones. So I think violence is the safer bet here, and it's a better line at minus 120 or minus 110. So the pick is going to be Mason Jones. The bet is going to be fight doesn't go the distance, and get really good odds on that. Next fight of the night, we have Cameron Smotherland at plus 115 going up against Series CD at minus 135. Over 2.5, minus 170. Under 2.5 at plus 130. Let's start with Cameron Smotherman. I always have a soft spot for big dogs that come through for you when you bet them, and I always want to support them outside of Cameron Smotherland. This dude's an asshole. I'm not the biggest Cameron Smotherland fan at all. He was like plus 300 against Jake Hadley. And Jake Hadley doesn't hit hard. And Cameron Smotherman is the better striker. And Jake Hadley can't wrestle. So that was like some of the worst lines I've ever seen. And we took full advantage and made a ton on Cameron Smotherman. Now I don't want to support him anymore. He's 27 years old. He will probably have the crowd behind him, considering he's American and CD is from Canada. He does have good striking. He does have good cardio. He does throw a ton of volume. All of that is true. He marches forward and swings and bangs. But he doesn't have good takedown defense. 50% takedown defense in two fights. And his chin's bad. It's really bad. He's been knocked out on more than one occasion, and he gets dropped seemingly every fight. Like, you can hurt this guy. And he's cocky as all hell, and you're going to keep hurting him because he's going to keep marching you down hands low and talking shit, and then you crack him. That's what he does. He's so annoying. He's very, very, very confident. You have to be confident to be in this game. I'm not trying to harp on the kid. Again, he's only 27. He's just not someone that I want to support. Sometimes you just get people that irk you for no reason, and his cockiness just gets to me. It just seems like he's not hyping himself up. It just feels like he's believing he's believing his own hype. Um, his jiu-jitsu is all right. I do love the body work. He's a training partner of Adrian Yanez, and he is very boxing centric. He moves forward in boxes. He doesn't kick. He doesn't wrestle. He doesn't have any semblance of anything. He just wants to essentially. And that's another thing. I hate when people are one dimensional. I love people that are good strikers and good jiu-jitsu guys, because then you're able to kind of like pick your poison. Those are my favorite guys to watch. It's always fun. Even a really good wrestler I enjoy. But some as long as they have ground and pound and such, not Torres Finney. But if you're just a boxer, go to boxing. Like I just something about Cameron Smotherman, the way he acts and the way he fights, I'm just not a fan of. He is a boxer in an MMA cage. On the other side, we have Siri CD, who is a kickboxer. I mean, he has a little bit of grappling chops. He has a good front head choke series. You saw him lock up some Darce chokes in his last fight. He is 28 years old. He's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage in this matchup. He has good. He has okay jiu-jitsu. He has good cardio. He has good striking. 20% takedown defense, but it's not going to matter in this matchup because again, Cameron ain't wrestling for shit. He has good volume, but he can get countered a lot, and he can get chin checked a lot. He's pretty hittable when he's out there, to be honest with you. He'll try to sprinkle in takedowns here and there. I think he's the more versatile fighter. I think he is the better fighter, but this is probably going to end up being just a striking tit for tat fight. And Smotherman has the crowd behind him. God, I don't want to bet Cameron Smotherman. I do think Series CD is better. I'm going to pick Series CD. Do I want to bet him? They're tempting me with this line at minus 130. That's a bettable line. Like, I should just bet Series CD. But something in my gut is screaming Cameron Smotherman gets this done. I want to stay away from it. I can't touch the over under because they're both liable to get knocked out, to be honest with you. We just saw Series CD fight just boxers, boxing centric fighters. We saw him fight Ramon Tavares, and he got a win in Contender Series, but it was a little controversial. They ran it back and he lost a split decision that I thought he won. Then we saw him fight Garrett Armfield, who's predominantly just a boxer, and he won a split decision that I thought he lost. So I truly think like Armfield and Tavares both fight eerily similar to Smotherman, and both fights went to split decision. This screams Smotherman split decision. I really don't want to do it. I think I'm gonna stay away from this fight. You can definitely bet this to go to split. I definitely think this thing is gonna be a split decision, and Smotherman's gonna have the better odds for that. So the pick is gonna be Series CD. The bet I'll probably just make it a glory play. I might bet Smotherman by split and see what that line is, and kind of go from there. Next fight of the night, we have Montel Jackson at minus 205 going up against Daniel Marcos at plus 170. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 210. Under 2.5 plus 160. Let's start with Daniel Marcos because I don't understand it. Daniel Marcos, please look at this guy's record. He is 17 and 0. 17 and 0. And you keep giving me dog money on this guy. I don't understand, but I fucking love it. Daniel Marcos is 32 years old, so he's in his prime. He has really, really good striking. His cardio's good. It checks out. It's okay. His jujitsu's good. It checks out. His wrestling's good. He'll mix in a takedown here and there, but defensively, it's awesome. 88% takedown defense. He's very difficult to get down to the ground. He hits decently hard. He's not like a power puncher to where he knocks everyone out, but he at least hurts you every fight, and sometimes he does get the KO. He throws pretty decent volume for his like little Muay Thai striking style. A lot of these guys are lower volume, throwing 3 or 4 significant strikes per minute. He throws over 5, which surprised me the way he fights and his style. And again, he's undefeated. So he has good IQ. He has good striking. He's damn near impossible to take down. So you're forced to strike with a very good striker with good volume and good IQ. And when he needs to get the takedown to secure the round, he does so. I love this guy. He does everything right. His level of competition thus far, it's middle tier. It's okay. Davey Grant's a good win. I thought he lost that fight, but I'll take it. Adrian Yanez is a good win. That split was very close, but I thought he won. John Castaneda, he dominated. Arichi Lang, he dominated before the no contest. I think it was a low blow or an eye poke. I don't remember. I think it was a low blow. Simon Oliveira, he was a dog for some strange reason, and he won money there. So, yeah, I don't know. He just is always a bettable fighter, and he's obviously never let me down because he is 17 and 0, and I've bet him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I've bet him all 5 of his UFC fights, and this guy does nothing but make me money. And now he is plus 170. I fucking love this guy. I'm riding it until the wheels fall off. On the other side, we have Montel Jackson. He's also pretty good, but a little overrated in my opinion. He's 33 years old. He's a 5-inch reach advantage. He'll probably have the crowd behind him because he's the American in this matchup. But he's just looked weird as of late. He's another one that's kind of like buying his own dip. I have a friend where I was like, "Oh, you're gonna love Montel Jackson. He's right up your alley." And he went out there and fought one of the most boring fights against Julio Arce. Like I don't know why he did that. Then he goes out there and he dominates Ronnie Yaya, but Ronnie Yaya was like 45 at the time. Then he one hit Saman Blackshear. That was a good look. I can't take away from that. Saying all of that, he's just so inactive, man. He last fought in 24 a year ago. His last fight before that was in 23. The last fight before that was in 22. His last fight before that was in 21. Like, this dude fights once a year. I don't understand what's going on. Is he always hurt? Does he just not want to fight often? I don't know what his deal is. He has good striking. He has okay jujitsu. He has okay power. His cardio is pretty good. His volume lacks. He doesn't throw a ton. And his takedown defense is at 69%. It's all right. It's not great. You can get him down if you want him down to the ground. Now, he does back up from time to time, and the UFC is going to piss you off talking about his hand size. All they did every time was, his hands are bigger than Francis Ngannou's. Well, Francis isn't in the UFC anymore. They pretend like he never existed. So I don't know what they're going to say this time. Did they just say his hands are bigger than every heavyweight? Like, I don't know what he's going to say. But they're going to talk about how big his hands are. over and over and over again. It's a very strange, it's a weird obsession they have. Just be ready to hear it about 80 times about how large this man's hands are at 135. But outside of that, I was really looking at his record. Who's he beat? Demond Blackshear is a good win, but he one punched him. We don't know how that fight would have went. Ronnie Yaya was a 45-year-old that can't strike or wrestle. Julio Arce was also an old man at 40 years old. JP Buys had 0 wins in the UFC. Jesse Strader had 0 wins in the UFC. Brett Johns was good, and he lost to him. Felipe Colares had 0 fights in the or 0 wins in the UFC, and Andre Sukumatath, whatever, had 0 wins in the UFC. Brian Kelleher was okay, um, but he just shot himself into whatever that Darce choke. I mean, I'll give him his credit, but that's his best win, Brian Kelleher. Ricky Simone is good, and he got dominated. I I don't understand. I, I understand the height. He's a good striker. He has a good front choke series, but his best win is Brian Kelleher. Literally, no one else that he fought has a win in the UFC outside of Julio Arce and Ronnie Yaya, and they are both 40 years old. So I think, or Demond Blackshear. That Demond Blackshear is the outlier. Damn it, Demond. But at the end of the day, I'm not overly impressed with his record when you go back and actually look at it. Daniel Marcos, striking wise, is going to be his toughest test to date. And if Daniel wants to sneak in a takedown, he does it from time to time. So I think the wrong man's favorite in this matchup. The pick is going to be Daniel Marcos. The bet's going to be Daniel Marcos. Maybe I'm biased. I just talked about Smotherman. When you make me money, I fall for you. And Daniel Marcos has made me a ton of money, and he's going to make us even more this Saturday night. Let's get it, Daniel. Next fight of the night, we have Santiago Ponzinibbio at minus 130 going up against Daniel D. Rod Rodriguez at plus 110. Over under set at 1.5. Over 1.5 minus 375. Under 1.5 plus 260. Both these dudes are over the hill. Let's just start with, I guess, Daniel Rodriguez. D. Rod is now 38 years old. He has good striking. He has underrated jiu-jitsu. His wrestling's trash, 57% takedown defense, not a good look. Doesn't really look to actively offensively wrestle either. His cardio's okay. It used to be really, really good, but the older he gets, the more he's slowing down. It did look good randomly one fight, and then he failed the drug test, and that's why it looked good again. It's just his cardio and his chin are fading with age. He's 38, and he looks it. He's damn near 40, and Father Time is undefeated. He can be countered. He does keep his hands extremely low, which is a bad combination, but he does throw a ton of volume. It's really high volume. He does pressure forward with his striking. He has okay power, but he does have a tendency to start slow. He loses a lot of the first round in his first match, or in the first round. Then he starts to just kind of download your rhythm, your tendencies, and then he starts to go. But that's tougher as his cardio's fading the older he gets. To start slow and give away half a round and then start fighting is a tough thing to do when you get tired later on. On the other side, we have Santiago Ponzinibbio. He's also 38 years old. He's also losing his chin with age. He has good striking. He has okay volume. He's easy to hit, though. You can hit this guy a ton. He'll try to sprinkle in the occasional takedown here and there, especially as of late. Um, but he just is ultimately just fading with age as well. He's better when he's marching forward. When he's getting backed up, he doesn't look as good. But he generally is going forward. He loves to pressure forward. His jiu-jitsu's all right. It's probably a wash. Honestly, the striking's probably a wash, but D-Rod throws a little more. Santiago hits a little harder. Wrestling wise, I'll give the edge to Santiago. And that leaves us with, I mean, essentially a tie. I'd say Santiago has a little bit more advantage. But at the end of the day, as a favorite, I don't trust it. But then the odds aren't crazy. He's only minus 130. So I agree that he should be the favorite. I agree that Santiago probably wins this fight. Do I want a dog hunt with D Rod? Kinda. Actually, no, I don't at all. Do I understand dog hunting with D Rod? Absolutely. Do I think you should do it? Probably not. Or you can live bet it. This might be a live betting situation where if D Rod starts slow again, take a look at him second round, see if he's breathing heavy. If it's the D Rod with cardio, I'll probably live bet D Rod after round one. If it's the D Rod that's fading, I'm glad I stayed the fuck away. So the pick is going to be Santiago. The bet is probably ultimately going to be a over 1.5. It's juiced to minus 375, or I might live bet D Rod based on how he looks. Next fight of the night, we have the co-main event of the evening. We have Rainer de Ritter at plus 260 going up against Bo Nickel at minus 320. Yeah, we've never seen Bo Nickel this low. Over 1.5 minus 200, under 1.5 at plus 160. Let's start with Bo. You would think Bo has the crowd behind him, being the American. They probably will still cheer him, but he's taken a lot of flack as of late from the MMA community, but I don't think they're on a they're not quick to jump on the Ritter. So I think the crowd will be behind Bo. He's 7-0, 29 years old. Great wrestling, world class wrestling, Olympic wrestler. His jujitsu's okay. His striking's okay. He has okay power. He has good cardio. He's just very, very green. Again, he's only 7-0, but because he's a well-known world-class Olympic wrestler, you have to give him fights. Like he was a celebrity, basically. He's like a fighting celebrity. He's a wrestling celebrity. So you can't just give him Val Woodburns the whole time. Eventually, he's going to have to progress, make his way up. He's at ATT. He's at a good camp, and they're moving him around slowly as they should. They gave him the Cody Brundage treatment, the Val Woodburn treatment. Then he went up to Paul Craig. Next step is Rainer de Ritter. And this is a very intriguing matchup. It's basically the same thing as the Paul Craig matchup, to be honest with you. Rainer de Ritter is a world class jiu-jitsu practitioner. He's very, very, very good on the ground. Multiple degree black belt. Don't fuck with him on the ground. But he's 34 years old and he can't strike. He'll have a 2-inch reach advantage here. And although he has a great jiu-jitsu advantage, he can't get him down. He's an okay wrestler, but Bo is a world class Olympic wrestler. He's not going to be able to take down Bo. So you can't use your jujitsu if you can't take him down. So then you have a boxing match against an Olympic wrestler and a world jiu-jitsu champion. It ain't going to be pretty. The Paul Craig fight looked horrible. People turned on Bo because of how bad the fight was, and then the UFC turned around and gave him the exact same thing. It's the exact same fight. De Ritter might actually strike a little better than Paul Craig, but his reactions when he gets hit are much worse. He does not like getting hit. It is not good optically. He also has, this is going to sound crazy, might have worse cardio than Paul Craig. His cardio is not good. He's just very awkward out there. He's a little chinny. Yeah, man, he's very slow. He's very physically slow. Bo should have the speed advantage. Bo should have the power advantage. The Ritter's a huge guy, so maybe he just falls on top of Bo. If somehow he gets on top of Bo, Bo's in serious trouble. But Bo probably is not taking him down. He didn't even attempt to take down Paul Craig, and I don't think he's going to attempt to take down the Ritter. I think he's going to want to knock him out. So the pick is going to be Bo. Do I want to bet Bo? No, not at all. I don't. I thought the last striking fight with Paul Craig was close. So I don't think it's the right thing to bet there. What I'll probably ultimately take, staring at that over 1.5 at minus 200. But god damn, the Ritter does not like to get hit. Like Bo might crack him. Um, and the Ritter has been knocked out in the first round before. This is a weird fight. Stay the hell away. The pick is gonna be Bo. The bet is gonna be Bo Nickel at minus 320. It's terrible. I don't feel good about it, but I don't want to play with DeRitter's chin there, or if he accidentally gets on top somehow. If he somehow takes Bo down, I don't want to play with Bo's ground game. And on the feet, I don't want to play with DeRitter's chin. Pick is Bo. Bet is Bo. And that takes us to the main event of the evening. If you haven't already, what are you doing? Smash the like, give a follow over on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever there's social media. There's the Stats and Stacks podcast. We have Corey Sandhagen at minus 500 going up against former champion Davidson Figueiredo at plus 360. Over under set at 4.5. Over 4.5 minus 225. Under 4.5 at plus 170. Let's start with Figgy. Getting Figgy with it. Figgy is 37 years old now. Dude is an old man. Still a good record at 24, 4 and 1. He has good striking. He has good jiu-jitsu. He has okay wrestling. He has okay cardio. He's fought a great level of competition. He has sneaky good fight IQ. He'll wrestle when he needs to. He'll strike when he has to. The thing with him that I don't like is his volume. His volume is extremely low. He hits extremely hard at a ton of power at 125. It seems to have translated at 135, but not to the same extent. And with that low volume, he's extremely hittable. So he's a little smaller, he's pretty hittable, and he doesn't throw a ton. None of that is good. Believe me, when he throws, you feel it. He hits hard, he's vicious, he's mean, he's aggressive. He is a violent fighter. It's just not as scary at 135 as it is at 125. And again, he's 37, so on that old man fade tour, he is starting to fade a little bit. On the other side, we have someone thought I was going to lock until I saw he was minus 500. That's just ridiculous. Corey Sandhagen's 33 years old. He will definitely have the crowd behind him. He's going to have a 2 inch reach advantage. He has good striking, probably a striking advantage. He has good jujitsu, probably jujitsu is probably a wash. His takedown defense is showing 63%, but it used to be at like 30. It is much improved. The dude is a very, very good defensive wrestler now. He just wasn't his whole UFC career, so it's kind of hard to skew that number up. And he's also fighting people like TJ Dillashaw and Umar Nurmagomedov. Like, those guys are going to take you down. There's nothing you can do about it. Frankie Hager, Aljamain Sterling, like, they're going to get takedowns on you. But his defensive wrestling is not as bad as it looks. I've even seen him offensive wrestle. He tore his pec against Rob Font and went out there and grappled for 5 rounds and just kept taking down Rob Font. So he's even learned to offensively wrestle. He has really good fight IQ as well. And his volume is good. His cardio is great. His level of competition is great. He's fought the who's of 135. He's fought literally everybody. At the end of the day, again, Corey striking advantage, ground game wash, wrestling wash, cardio Corey. So crowd Corey. So there's just more boxes in the Corey Sandhagen box. Do I want to do minus 500? No, I think that's extremely wide. Should he be the favorite and should he win? Yes. Will I have money on Corey Sandhagen? I want to, but my minus 500 is ridiculous. I like this fight to go over. The over 4.5 minus 225, I will stare at for a while. So the pick is going to be Corey Sandhagen. If you want to parlay Corey Sandhagen, you can. Or you can take that over 4.5 at minus 225. I think I'm leaning in that direction. And that's UFC Des Moines. It's a fun card. Nothing out of control, but there's a pay-per-view offering next week. And it's a good little middle ground in between events. So at the end of the day, as long as you make money, it's a great card to us. So let's continue our winning ways. Let's get after it.